Made from LSTC profile, right? And what does Ushady mean? Not wearing caps? Yes, go ahead. This is a Megaphone stand, we have Megaphone internet. And what does Ushliyo Panoye mean? There's nothing to understand. And what's this? Hello, my name is Dmitry. Welcome to the Deep Labs channel. Today I will tell you about the construction of a heat pump and industrial air conditioner factory for the company HES. My partner and I are building this factory not far from the city of Dobrograd in a free economic zone. Dobrograd. This is in the Vladimir region, 250 kilometers from Moscow. We are among the first in this free economic zone to have already built our own building. At this modern facility, we will be producing both industrial and domestic heat pumps such as air-to-air, water-to-water, air-to-water, and several others. We will also manufacture precision industrial air conditioners specifically for data centers and similar enterprises. We began construction of this factory in July of the year 2022, and as you can see, the building is already finished with interior finishing, installation of engineering systems, and so on underway. The total area of the building is 1,500 square meters, and here the production of refrigerant circuits will be partially automated, as well as other interesting things. Let me tell you what's here. The building itself is constructed from sandwich panels. These are PIR panels. For the framework, we use concrete columns in sockets and metal structures. The building turned out to be very warm. Even at minus 37 degrees, it maintained a temperature of 20 degrees inside. Here, with the ventilation turned off, it consumed 15 kilowatts while running on electric boilers. So the heating here is underfloor heating everywhere. The floor is really well made with a corundum topping. I highly recommend it. It's not that expensive, but you get a ready-made industrial floor. All the partitions in the building are constructed using LSTC profiles for various office spaces such as meeting rooms and so on. And they're finished with PIR sandwich panels. Here there will be a supply and exhaust ventilation system with active heat recovery using a heat pump. There's about 1 kilometer of geothermal loop here for heating, also using a heat pump. And in summer it will be used for cooling, with pre-cooling for the ventilation as well. Our company's products will be supplied not only to Russia and CIS countries, but also to countries in the Middle East. There are preliminary agreements with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. Because, for example, in Egypt, in the city of Cairo, the temperature sometimes drops to 0, and there is no central heating. So heat pumps will work very well there. Heat pumps of the air-to-air and air-to-water types. Also, another significant advantage of the Dobrograd Free Economic Zone is worth mentioning. We have our very own dedicated custom zone here, which we have almost completely open now. And what does this give us? All components and equipment that we bring in here are imported without the need for customs clearance and without the application of VAT. Customs duties are only paid if we choose to sell these items within the country and export them from here. If we export something, then we don't have to pay either VAT or customs duties. It's very convenient. And we set all this up very quickly. The Vladimir region government helped us out quite a bit during this process, and we want to give them our special thanks and our sincere appreciation for that. There were no delays or issues at that time. Let me tell you what will be here and how it will work. Here we will have a robotic semi-automatic assembly line for refrigerant circuits. Here there will be a small warehouse, and from here there will be a small hoist. The entire system for loading compressors will be on a special It will be placed on a special frame, and from there this transport robot will pick it up. By the way, it's made in Russia. This transport device can carry up to 1.5 tons. It will bring it here, and here a person will work by hand. After the pipe bender, the pipes will be assembled, inserted into each other, and special soldering rings will be put on them. Then everything will be brought up to here, right up to this soldering station. A big problem. When assembling the Freon circuits, there was a lot of manual work involved in soldering and a high risk of human error, so we decided to use induction soldering. Here we have this kind of inductor. It's 35 kilowatts if I remember correctly. The copper pipes already have rings on them. The inductor is brought up to them. This is a robot made in Perm, basically. You could say it's a copy of a KUKA. It's produced in Perm. They have their own foundry and so on. It's 6-axis, so it will rotate it will bring the inductor up and do the soldering. This whole process will happen very quickly. It would take a person half a day to do the soldering, but here it takes just 10 minutes. By the way, there will be glass panels here and there will be positive pressure inside. This is to prevent dust from getting in. This will be a more or less clean room. And there will be several of these. Soldering stations, that is. Next, the assembly of the electrical part will be moved here. We have our own dedicated controller and all of our own custom designed electronics. After assembling the electrical part, it will be brought into these rooms. There, the unit will be filled with refrigerant, vacuumed and charged with refrigerant. And the testing of these test chambers will run through all modes for about an hour. If everything is fine, then it goes to the warehouse. If not, then right here will be the repair area. If something was done incorrectly, it can be fixed by hand and sent back for testing. And this large area is for R&D, since we'll be developing and testing new models and so on. Here we can run temperature tests from -50 to +50 degrees and test heat pumps. Air to air, air to water, geothermal and so on. Automatic refrigerant evacuation and charging will also be used everywhere. The refrigerant itself will be stored separately, since we will also be using R32. It's considered partially flammable, so everything will be kept separately there. Since a lot of nitrogen is also needed for pressure testing, pipe purging, and adding during soldering, we bought a 500-liter dewar and a vaporizer. It's set up outside so that we always have plenty of nitrogen. We will try to automate everything here as much as possible. Regarding the launch, we are planning somewhere. We plan to produce 12 to 15,000 refrigerant circuits per year for a space of 1,500 square meters. I think that's pretty good. So what do we have here? Basically, there are restrooms, everything is simple. Everywhere we use stainless steel pipes for water, etc. I don't like polypropylene for pressure testing, so we use stainless steel pipes. There are temporary electric boilers installed, but we'll remove them later. Next, there will be 2 hotel-style or accommodation-style rooms here in this area. So for example, if someone comes to visit, like if I come, instead of booking a hotel room, I'll just stay here temporarily. We have 2 such hotel rooms. Then, if I'm not mistaken, either here or over there. Here, there will be a training center for work-related activities. For now, there are compressors stored here that we've stocked up on. Turkish heat exchangers. We use them in our applications, and here are some illustrations of housings for outdoor units and so on. By the way, this is production. They make it in Kovrov. We made an agreement. It's a pretty good metalworking plant. Not too expensive, and the quality is quite decent. So, here, we'll also have a dedicated office space. Here you can see this is the air and refrigerant diagram, which is pretty intense and detailed. Hydraulics, heating, and the glycol section are all included here as well. But everything here is serious. I wanted to show you our advanced universal heat pump controller. It supports electronic expansion valves and a bunch of other features. This is what our in-house development looks like. Our Belarusian brothers helped out from the Belarusian branch. So let's say it comes with an expansion module. This is the maximum version with lots of relays, but you can get a simpler one too. And here are the screens. There are some quite large ones like this, for example. And there are simpler ones. Somewhere there will be a simpler one. Let's see, simpler, and there's also a small one. But actually, everything is still being tested and refined right now. That's it. And I also wanted to show you these rings for soldering. You can just cut them yourself. It's cheaper to buy this way. You don't put it on, it's hard solder, and the inductor melts it. There's silver. This one has 5% silver. There are different kinds, actually. Well, that's how it is. It's kind of our heating unit. This is the heating and cooling system. We weld black steel, but we use TIG welding with stainless filler. The loop is 1 kilometer long from the heat pump. Well, for the heat pump, there's about 1 kilometer or 1.5 kilometers laid out. Right now, it's under pressure. There's ethylene glycol in there. It will work for both cooling and heating. Here we have a hydro accumulator for the well. Here is the domestic water distribution. Everything is done in stainless with press fittings, very convenient. And here, after additional purification, drinking water goes to the kitchen. Well, this is our changing room, simple but tasteful. That's how it will be. Well, also for the showers. Everything is simple like this. All the stainless steel was used. Even though it's not a residential space, I think it's quite decent, nice and cozy. The land plot area is 1 hectare. Right now we've separated 0.6 hectares. Here is the main building, the customs post building, and in fact the Freon warehouse. And then we still have 0.4 hectares left for further development. I think that will be more than enough for us. It's not crowded here. Everything is nice and great. Let's go to the Freon warehouse. Let's take a walk.
Dobrograd, do you know how much they asked for 100 megabits?
How many? Almost zero.
I'm crap. I'm really crap.
For optics, Dobrograd asked 100,000 rubles per month. Here, Megafund supplied the radio electric equipment and didn't pay for it. 18,000 rubles, 100 megabits plus VAT. The internet is more important than sewerage now. Here. Now this is a wonderful drilling rig. Here, how many kilometers, Alexei, did you have to drill? Up to 1.5 kilometers? Here, they drilled these gigas for the companies.
It was this drilling rig. I calculated about 33 or 34 kilometers.
A set?
Yes.
He keeps working and working. Here, this will be our main warehouse, and here, Freon will be stored. Through these tubes, there will be different types of Freon, and there will be automatic scales here. The data will be transmitted and sent over there to the main building. The cylinders will be placed on heated platforms, or I'm not sure, Oleg, will they be wrapped with something? A heating belt will keep the pressure normal, and it will go over there. So, our company HS has received the license to import Freon. For bot Freon. What? For bot Freon.
For butt Freon?
Yes, I mean, that's it. And where was that? At the Ministry of Natural Resources? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, we got the quotas. So we have a lot of Freon here, our dealers. There's no other word for them. They want way too much profit for it. For now, we've stocked up a little for the time being. Why don't we produce Freon ourselves? But anyway, I hope we'll be able to show you a lot of interesting things. So let's say here... Hello, Seryoga. Hi. Listen, I'm about 300 kilometers away. I drove the Tesla to Dobrograd, but I forgot the charger.